by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon as we have finally made it to a Friday. So we're getting ready for the weekend. I know everyone's excited about that. You're in the home stretch now as it's the middle of the day, but plenty of things to get to today. Of course, we'll look forward to the college football landscape this weekend. Look at Arkansas, Mississippi State, maybe a little bit. We'll see. But there's other things that we'll be talking about. But honestly, guys, tonight, I think it's what really is on the minds of Razorback fans. There's this basketball thing going on between Arkansas and Kansas that I hear is a pretty big deal at Bud Walton Arena. And the John Calipari era, even though it's not a real game, will officially be underway. So it seems like Razorback fans are pretty excited about that at this point.
It's time. It's finally here. Y'all know I've been waiting for this, man. I'm pumped up. I'm excited. This is going to be really, really fun. I saw the game notes, had some more clarification on what they're doing, 4 10-minute quarters. I love it. And even though both teams are going to be less than full strength, still a lot of talent out there on the floor, man. And two good teams, 2 Hall of Fame coaches going at it. It's about as good as it gets in terms of a game that doesn't actually count, man. I'm pumped.
I'm pumped too, man. I'm really excited to see the pageantry and just the atmosphere because I imagine there's going to be a ton of fans there, which is based on the fact that it's sold out immediately. I'd imagine there are going to be some fans there, some butts in seats. And so I look forward to that, getting our first real official look at this team, if you can call it that. And I'm excited, man. It's just excited to get this thing going. And before anyone starts complaining, guys, you know, we've talked about football a lot this week. We'll gladly talk about football if y'all want to, but if I've learned anything this week, it's Arkansas fans do not want to talk about this football team at the moment. So we're going to talk about something that's a little bit more exciting. And if I'm wrong, I'm sure there's a few people that are going to be, you know, shaking their fist at the cloud, but the numbies don't lie. The folks yearn for the hardwood.
Yeah.
True,
well, I was just looking at it where I was going through some show prep today, and I'm like, I think everything has been exhausted on this football game, honestly. Like this week on this show especially, I think we've talked about each and everything. We've broken down each and everything, and it's just to the point where I'm like, I am over it. I just want the game to go, and then we can react to it tomorrow on our Pod of That Nature postgame show, and we'll have more to talk about. But that's why it's so nice to have this particular game with Arkansas, Kansas as an exhibition. And, you know, we could sit here, and I know we're going to dive into it. I know Curtis has done a lot on InsideArkansas.com and as well as his mailbag and talking a lot about it too. But it's just going to be really fun for at least me seeing something that's historical. And maybe I'm being over dramatic about it, but this particular game in an exhibition, in no other case would you probably get the number 1 team Kansas Jayhawks coming to Bud Walton Arena for an exhibition game. You just wouldn't. And we get to see John Calipari. Yes, we know he's the coach. We get to see the Slobber Hog. Yes, we know that it's there. But just knowing that this type of thing would never have happened if it wasn't for the big change that Arkansas had in Razorback basketball of getting John Calipari, that's what I'm excited about, is just to see that new era of something that you wouldn't see before. That's something that's really cool, because I don't know of any other exhibition games that are being played on SEC Network. To see something this cool, this awesome happening in Bud Walton Arena in Fayetteville on a Friday night, that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most, is just the historical presence of it all.
Yeah, so many things we're going to be able to experience for the first time. You know, the first hog call in there with Cal and the boys out there. The first time we hear John Calipari's name announced, you know, over the loudspeaker in Bud Walton before a game. I'm sure he's going to get a big ovation. You know, all these new guys that we're excited about. It's a talented team, even if all of them aren't playing. There's just a lot of newness and a freshness. You know, I think that's one thing, you know, about Kentucky fans, that they still have this weird obsession over Cal. And even though they're probably overhyping the Mark Pope thing, but what I will say to their credit is it is a fresh start. It's new, it's different, and that excites people. Well, this is also new and different for Razorback fans and for John Calipari. And so there's just this level of anticipation and excitement that's in the air that I'm just really, really looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a ton of fun. And I keep saying, like I've said since Cal got announced, I'm probably not going to think this is real until he's actually on the sideline coaching a game.
Yep.
But now we're at that day, and I'm like, I still don't know if this is going to be real to me. I just don't know.
One thing I don't think anybody should take for granted is, like we're saying, being on this big stage. How many exhibition games are on SEC Network? You've got Kansas coming to town. Like that didn't just happen on accident. Being on this pedestal nationally and having this many eyeballs on you, being the center of attention, which Arkansas certainly was at SEC Media Days. I imagine with Calipari, anytime we even say Calipari's name, there's all these people that come out of the woodworks with angry things to say. Arkansas is just going to have a ton of eyeballs on them. They're on a bigger stage than they've ever been on, at least in my lifetime in basketball. It's exciting, and I don't think people should take that for granted. And I think Kentucky fans, now, of course, Kentucky basketball is going to continue to be a national brand. People will still care about Kentucky basketball no matter what. But I think that's one thing that they maybe took for granted is when Cal's not your coach, there's just a little bit of a mystique and an allure about your program that I think they thought was going to happen no matter what. And I'm sure to an extent it will. But I think that's probably what has them as butthurt as they are, is that nobody's talking about Kentucky basketball. Nobody cares about Kentucky basketball. Well, if Mark Pope has a great year, we'll give him their props and all that. But it's like, it's not one of those things where every move Mark Pope makes, everyone's sitting there with cameras waiting to film it. And they do some cool stuff, like their little Big Blue Madness, whatever they had the other day was nice. But in terms of a national relevancy standpoint, it has to really eat them up that Arkansas is so on the national radar. And I can't wait for that to come to fruition tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And I got to say, as excited as we are and as high as the anticipation is, we're not going to have our blinders on here at Inside Arkansas. I mean, we're going to have our eyes on the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything. I mean, I couldn't really sleep last night after we got back from Leroy. I was thinking about, what we're going to see in this Kansas exhibition. I spent like an hour and a half on my phone just looking at old Kentucky clips, because I really want to know. We've seen him kind of adapt the way that he builds his rosters. He's older, not as reliant on freshmen, although those dudes are going to get thrown directly into the freaking fire tonight. So good luck to him. But has he evolved? People say, oh, the game's passed him by or whatever. Last year they had such an explosive offense. His OC or whatever moved on to Fresno State. I went and watched a lot because I want to see how much of that he's taken over to Arkansas. And then I also went back and watched some old stuff, the good old dribble drive, the floppy action that he would do over and over and over that people were calling archaic and everything like that. I got my eyes on it, man. Like I want to see those elements and how much we have in terms of the new stuff versus the old stuff and kind of where he's at. Philosophically, I'm excited about that almost as much as I am to see the players out there.
Well, and to throw it into, like, this is something I've always looked at when it comes to people wondering about Cal or wondering about, why teams are excited, which I think Razorback fans are about as excited as they've ever been. And they've been very fortunate. I know this is weird to say, but Razorback fans actually have been very fortunate to where of the basketball side of things, there was a very high level of excitement when Mike Anderson came in. There was an even higher level of excitement when Eric Musselman came in, and now this is a fever pitch type of excitement with John Calipari. Like, you've improved and you've gotten that energy to where there's never been, what are you talking about, 15 years essentially, where there's not been a year you've walked in with a new era of coach and you're like, oh, I don't know about this. This doesn't, I don't know. It could go a lot of different ways. You've had to build up that excitement. But the one thing that I've always looked at, and this is a way of just looking at it in the SEC, for instance, it's about who you would trade with. And we're talking about coaches. We're talking about John Calipari. How many coaches in the SEC, all 16 teams right now, would you trade John Calipari up straight up for right now in the SEC?
Nate Oates.
I was going to say Oates.
Would he be the only one?
He's probably the only one I don't have to think about.
Yeah. I'd hear an argument for Bruce Pearl. I think he's a really good coach. I might hear I wouldn't hear an argument for Rick Barnes. I think that's about it.
Yeah. So that's my point.
Bruce Pearl, I think I would hear the argument for it, but I don't think I would trade Cal for him.
Even if I
think
Bruce
Pearl's a good coach.
If I got a player to be named later in the deal, I might consider it. But straight up, I don't know.
Yeah. And that's my whole point to this is that people can say about, oh, Cal has passed him by or the game's passed Cal by or whatever. And it's mainly coming from Kentucky fans. But I'm telling you right now, there is so many teams out there that would trade Calipari straight up for their coach. I mean, truly, there's so many that would do that. And when you have that going for Arkansas right now, you are in a conference and we don't know what's going to hold as far as the future goes. We don't know exactly how many games they're going to win. We don't know what they're going to do in the NCAA tournament. We don't know any of that. We have predictions, we have projections, but we don't know. But the point is that when the excitement and the confidence is there, which it is, that's why Arkansas is going to be in a place that they haven't been in a long time. Because even on the Nolan Richardson days, yes, you were as talked about of a program as Duke and North Carolina and everything. But that was the pre-social media era. That was the pre-SEC network era. Now you're in a time frame where you are going to be talked about all the time. You're going to have people in the stands that you would never come to your games before. You're going to have a lot of attention. And that's the thing I'm interested to see how Razorback fans handle was, okay, yes, wins and losses, you got that, but also that much attention being paid to you where you got a target on your back no matter who you're playing against. They are going to be coming for you because of John Calipari being your head coach. How do fans handle that pressure, that attention, and that exposure everywhere? That's going to be a whole new animal for Razorback fans.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I was thinking about this last night, and let's say that Arkansas gets off to a good start this season, and they're ranked high already. They've got some pretty good non-conference games early, like maybe they pick off Baylor or Illinois or both or whatever. But then they go for that first true road game at Miami in early December. Let's say Arkansas is climbed up in the rankings there. It's a John Calipari coach team. If Miami wins that game, do they rush the floor on Arkansas? Could that happen to Arkansas?
Yeah. I mean, that would be nice. Teams start rushing the floor against Arkansas.
It'd be crazy, man.
Mm-hmm. I think the last time it happened was in 1994 when Alabama beat Arkansas. There it was either Alabama or Mississippi State. I can't remember which one, but Arkansas was number one in the country and obviously went on to win a national championship. But that's the last time that Arkansas's had the floor rushed against them. And again, we're comparing it with Kentucky and everything, but how many times did Kentucky have the floor rushed against them when Cal lost? I mean, I feel like almost every SEC team in the conference rushed the floor whenever they beat Kentucky at some point in time. So yeah, it'll be fun to see how that transpires. And Cal can say whatever he wants, and I understand why he says it about, hey, you're expecting a lot, and we got a lot of work to do. I'm not going to guarantee anything. Blah blah blah. That doesn't matter. The expectation is high for Razorback fans. It's not as high as maybe being unrealistic. I think most people have a pretty realistic expectation, but it is high. And if there are games that Arkansas loses that they don't feel like they're supposed to, or that looks bad, Razorback fans are going to get upset and they're going to get frustrated. If they go into the SEC and they start off slow, they're going to get frustrated. They're going to be like, we already can predict it, guys, that when Curtis, you're doing your Pod of the Pilots post-game show, people are going to be like, are we sure Cal still got it? I mean, are we sure that he's the man for the job after they drop a 10-point loss on the road to LSU or something like that? Like, they are going to lose their minds. But that's why I just caution everybody. I know you're not going to listen, but I'm going to say it anyways. Do not judge basketball in this season by the games. Judge it by the season as a whole, because I guarantee you, if Arkansas goes to a Final Four this year in postseason play, you're not going to look back and be like, that was so much fun, but that dadgum LSU game we lost down there in Baton Rouge pisses me off. You're not going to care. So just wait until the season plays out before you freak out and start thinking that Cal's not the man for the job. That's all I'm asking.
I appreciate you saying that, and I wish people would do it, but they could lose by 4 to Kansas in an exhibition tonight, and you're going to start getting those questions on the post game.
I was going to say, dude, and also like Kentucky and Arkansas fans alike are going to be like waiting to dunk on Arkansas if they lose an exhibition game to Kansas with Jonas Adu out.
Right.
It's just going to be one of those things. And like, look, go for it. Get your licks in now, because you ain't gonna be able to get them in too long. I'll tell you one of the things I'm really excited about, and I've said this before. The NBA draft used to be my favorite thing in to cover, or I say cover. I never did it as a job, but it was like one of my favorite things to keep up with. Are y'all familiar with the site called Tankathon? Tankathon is basically just an NBA draft site, but it's called Tankathon because obviously you tank for these guys. But it just is a draft big board rating system, and they rank all the prospects. I'm seeing 6 Razorbacks in their top 60 prospects. Now, of course, this is just one of many outlets that do it. I'm just looking forward to that aspect of having those players that everyone's watching. Because when I was in college, all I watched in college basketball were where are the top draft prospects. The highest Kentucky player on this list is Jackson Robinson at number 49, which, good for Jax. That's about right for him. But 6 Arkansas players on this top 60 big board. And this is just one random site that I happen to like. But also, Curtis, you want to guess who the number 1 player for Arkansas is? He's listed at number 26 on this big board.
You're asking me this question, so I'm going to say Adu Thiero, even though I don't believe it.
Adu is on the list, and he's higher than I thought he was. It's Carter Knox. That's
Carter
the
Knox,
highest
I like
rated
it.
prospect. They have Big Z and Adu at 34 and 35 respectively.
Okay.
Boogie Fland at 28, Carter Knox at 26, and Trevin at 57, which is interesting. But yeah, I did not expect to see Carter Knox being the highest rated draft prospect on any site. But that's a take I've been squatting on for the entire summer, so I'd love to see it come to fruition.
Hell yeah. No, that's good stuff, man.
So can I ask you guys this question too? And this is just more of an opinion thing, but do you think one of the deals that really will help Razorback fans in saying that from tonight's game specifically, that game against Purdue last year will help Razorback fans maybe just if Arkansas won, will maybe at least help their expectation, be like, oh my gosh, we're going to win. But refer back to last year, be like, hey, you beat Purdue and player of the year in the title game, whatever, that team, but it led to nothing. Do you think that at least that will help timid the expectations a little bit if Arkansas, say, was to win this exhibition game tonight?
I almost feel like the inverse of that is true. Like if they win, you probably still won't be able to tell Arkansas fans nothing, knowing the way they are. But if they lose, then I think that's where, people who are trying to do the copium thing where they're like, it's whatever. Like the exhibition last year didn't mean anything. And, like we lost to Texas by 32 years ago. That team went to the Sweet 16. So it's whatever. It doesn't matter. If they win, I would like to think that, John. And that's the approach I'm going to try my best to take. But these people are, man. They're going to be unruly.
We've had a few people that have kind of already said, no matter if Arkansas wins or not, like I'm not putting any stock in this exhibition game. And I think a lot of that is due to that Purdue game. I agree, though, Curtis, that it's going to help if Arkansas loses. A lot of people will be like, well, we won our exhibition game last year. Didn't mean anything. You lose your exhibition game against Texas by 30 and you end up going to the Sweet 16. And so, yeah, I think there's some recent history that'll help. But at the same time, I think it all kind of comes back to the individuals and what they look like, where if Arkansas wins and DJ Wagner has 21 points and Boogie Fland clearly is a top 10 pick and all these variables start happening, it'll be really hard to talk Arkansas fans down. And frankly, you should go into the season buzzing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let them have their moment. Let them have their time. It doesn't happen very often, especially at this point in time of the year. But I'm expecting a big crowd tonight. I don't know if there'll be 20,000 there. But I know that there's going to be a buzz surrounding it and everything. So I'm excited to get there. I'm excited to go out there and see Camp Bud later this afternoon and see how many people are there and how excited they are for an exhibition game. Because it's another thing too. It's like, this is an exhibition game, but you got people camping out. You got people excited for it. And just this era of Razorback basketball, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be so much fun.
Cool.
So, a lot of
140
things.
Domino's pizzas handed out last night. So
140.
Yeah.
Did each person get one?
I think
Is
it was
there more?
Each tent. I think there was like a pizza per tent.
Good Lord. That's 140 tents. Kids. I mean, I appreciate it. I applaud it, but man, see, that sucks. Cause I remember when I was camping out, we just got Eureka pizza. They're getting Domino's nowadays. So they've really upped that game.
Man.
Yeah. They've really upped their game there. If you want to get on the conversation, folks, 478-344-6623 is the number to call in. If you want to talk a little hoops, talk a little basketball heading into tonight. I know a lot of you are going to be making the trip up. We will be there as well, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see how it all plays out. I love the Kentucky fans that are coming in, questioning everything, and saying Kentucky basketball throttle you February 1st. All right, cool.
I don't think there's
y'all are obsessed.
Throttling.
Y'all are obsessed. It's weird. It's weird. Just get prepared for it, Razorback fans. Your social media timeline is going to be filled anytime Arkansas loses this year.
They saw them beat that D2 school, and we're like, I just don't think we're losing this year.
Mm-hmm. That's all it took. Kentucky. It was a Kentucky Wesleyan, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, big one there. De Niro says, will they be able to see on television tonight? Yes, SEC Network.
Yep.
The big dog at 8 p.m. Which I'm wondering is that's probably why they scheduled the game for a Friday night at 8 p.m., right? Because there's literally nothing on the SEC Network at that point in time.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is cool, man, because like next week's at in Fort Worth against TCU, as of now, like there's no streaming, broadcast, nothing. So it's kind of like that Texas game was a couple years ago.
Ooh, well, if Arkansas wins that one and this one against Kansas, I'm worried. I'm worried about the fans and their reactions. It's going to be too much. Hog fan says, I can't believe we have all this talent because Cal is spoiling us at this point.
It's a good team. Honestly, though, it's, I'm not saying I'm skeptical, but the biggest thing about kind of, just recruiting a short rotation and not really having a lot of, I hate doing this because I don't want to take anything away from these guys, but like quality depth, or there's obviously a big drop off after the top 9. When you have dudes who are injured, I mean, you're left very shorthanded, and we'll see that tonight and how it impacts things. But hopefully maybe one or two of these guys can kind of step up and just, you don't need anything crazy. You just need dudes who you can turn to in a pinch. So like, I'm excited to see Cash Chavis go out there and play because I've heard some good things about him and he was a decent enough recruit. Like you need the Pinions and Barry Dunnings and Darian Fords of the world that you can turn to if you need them. Doesn't mean they have to play every single game, but you run into situations where you're injured or in foul trouble or whatever. You got to do something. So that's, I think, the silver lining of some guys being out tonight is you'll be able to see some of these other dudes in action.
Also, and Bias Brim says, let's talk about question everything. So you'll end up questioning everything when it's all said and done in your BBN shows and mind your biz, sucker.
Yeah, a guy named Question Everything has been causing some havoc in the chat.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I like to see, because Eureka Strings kind of goes into what you were talking about, Curtis. Looking forward to seeing the freshmen get tested tonight.
Yeah,
for Arkansas.
That's going to be a lot of fun, man.
When we think about that Texas scrimmage, that was one of my biggest takeaways in that moment. Was I was like, oh man, Arkansas's freshmen are maybe not as ready to compete as we thought. It seemed like Anthony Black, Nick Smith actually had like one of the better games there. But Anthony Black and Jordan Walsh, I remember being like, oh man, they kind of shied away from the physicality of that game. I think that was a huge wake up call to them. And it was one that went as horribly as it could have gone for Arkansas. But I think we could look back and say that was probably the best thing that happened to them in that moment. Kind of let them know what they needed to work on. And so regardless of what happens, it is going to be good to see these freshmen get tested and at least have a little bit of a barometer for where they're at. And if they're dominating, then hey, you can get all excited. But if they have some growing pains here against Kansas, which would be very understandable, it could be just what they need this time of year.
Yep.
Also, Scaliske, Scaliowiswell, I don't know, whatever. It says, question is that this is not a normal exhibition game. They'll do more situational things, right?
Yeah, people they hear the word situational and they really freak out about it. Or at least that was it on Twitter. I'm not saying you're doing that. Scalisk, whatever. At any rate, they're playing 4 10-minute quarters. Situational stuff, that means a few things. Like by having 4 quarters instead of 2 halves, you have 4 opportunities to work on like end of quarter, end of period type stuff. And so whatever the situation dictates, like that's more opportunities for them to work on that, whether it's, last possession, trying to score or need a stop, set play execution, you have that. There will be times I think throughout where it's like agreed upon where Cal and Bill Self say, hey, this next 4-minute segment or whatever, let's, you guys zone us and we'll press you or vice versa, just to work on some different looks where both of those guys will probably be doing a lot of strict man-to-man otherwise. So it's just going to be stuff like that. I don't get the sense that they're not going to be doing drills together or anything. And I don't think, or at least I hope that they're not doing a deal where it's, Kansas screws something up and Bill Self runs out there on the court and yells at his team and is like, do it again. I don't get the sense that it's going to be like that.
I hope it's not, because that to me is just what the red-white games or the Midnight Madness games. That's what that's for.
Yeah.
This should be just, hey, roll the ball out and let's see what happens. Who cares? Just play ball. By the way, he says my name is Latin for ladders. I made it when I was 13 or something. Did you eat paint chips as a kid?
Interesting. Okay.
Why are
13? A ladder in the picture?
I guess. And
that doesn't look like a ladder.
There we go.
Why Latin for ladders? Okay, there's probably a lot of stories there.
Climbing the ladder of success.
Yeah, in Latin. Fishman also says national guys are saying we don't have a point guard. I've heard this. Big if true.
Here's my thing.
I'm done talking about that shit, man. Like I'm not addressing that anymore.
I'm gonna address it for about 12 seconds here. The last decade, the best Arkansas teams we've seen have had Jalen Tate at point guard, extremely not a traditional point guard by any means. Like Anthony Black, very much not a traditional point guard by any means. JD Note, extremely not a traditional point guard in terms of skill set and the way he approaches it. The last time I can think Arkansas had like a real true table setting point guard was like Jabril Durham. Who is being there like, man, they really need another Jabril Durham to set the table for these boys. I get it. I get needing to have a guy to set things up, but it's like, I feel like basketball in 2024, like that's just not really a thing that you see much. The John Stocktons of the world, like all these point guards that play nowadays are shooting 35 footers, shooting 20 shots a game. Like, since when did having a traditional point guard become like a thing you have to win?
I would ask those national guys who are saying that just to point out, to just pick 5 traditional point guards playing college basketball right now. Like, I would love for them to do that. We're going to see one of them tonight, DeJuan Harris. That's like the one that really just jumps off the page at me. It's like, oh yeah, that dude's a PG, straight up PG, not scorer, passer first, perimeter defender type guy. It's just not a thing in modern basketball. Big men are shooting threes. Point guards are scoring the basketball. That's just kind of where we're at now.
Hell, who are the best point guards in the NBA right now? Steph Curry, Dame Lillard. Does Luka Doncic count as a point guard? He's 6'8", but it's like you really don't see that much. It's just not the sport that we're in. It's not the sport that basketball has been for a good 15 years now.
Well, see, and that's like, I feel like that sometimes it happens in football too, but mainly basketball, where so many people feel like you're playing an old video game on college basketball, and it's just like, all right, so PG, SG, SF, PF, C. Yeah. You got to have those 5. Yeah. And if you don't have those 5, you don't have a team. It's like, no, you can do other things too. You can have just a guard. It doesn't have to be a PG or an SG. It could be just a guard. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so many there's an obsession with that, where it's like, well, do they have who's their center? Well, they got 2 forwards that are really big, and no, but they got to have a dominating center inside. Like, no,
he's got to have 1 foot in the paint at all times,
right?
And also, let's just be real. Let's say you really did truly need an actual point guard. I feel like you could do a lot worse than Boogie Fland and DJ Wagner. With John L. Davis helping out with some point guard duties. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over Arkansas's backcourt.
That's why it's so strange to me. And Alabama is the pick to win the SEC this year, and they went to a Final Four last season. I don't know that is Mark Sears a true point guard? I mean, he's one of the best scorers in the country, and he's their lead ball handler. So, I don't know. It's just a weird hill to die on. I think people are just looking for a reason to be like, we're going to fade Arkansas. Just say you don't trust Cal. Mm-hmm. Just say that and fade them for that. But don't try to get into the weeds with stuff that doesn't make sense. I don't have a true point guard like 300 other teams in the country. So I'm not seeing it. Come on.
I'd feel better if Jalen Harris were on this roster.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people forget too, Patrick Beverly was technically a point guard for a bit. He played point for Arkansas. Him and Gary Irvin. So yeah, bring those guys back. Shout out to Nick Lee for your sponsorship, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. I agree with Dalton, too, by the way. Zakai Ziegler, I'd call him more of a true point for sure. That's a good one.
An older guy that can't get drafted. That's what Arkansas, this team needs.
I love that kid, by the way. I feel like he's been at SEC Media Day 15 years in a row. And just a nice guy, man. Nice guy.
Yeah, shout out to our guy, Chef Boy R. Lee, for Courtney Fortson back in the Pelfrey days. Yeah. He was actually, not to get off a tangent, but he was a left-handed legit point guard. Like that, it was a lot of a unicorn type of thing there. He's
a triple-double threat.
Yeah. Him and one other player historically triple-double for him, but only at 5'11", 6 foot. Yeah, he was perfect for that stuff.
Remember we used to call Anthony Black a triple-double threat, even though he never came anywhere close to getting a triple-double at any point.
Yeah.
But in our heads though, he really was a triple double threat. It was like he could hypothetically get that.
Yeah, if the double meant 6, because it's about how many points he would score. But yeah,
he did about 8, 7, and 5 every game.
Yeah, because I was going to say he did not average double digits points, right?
I think he actually did.
He might have done that for points, but it's weird. He didn't. His assists were. He averaged like 3 assists or something like that. He wasn't as much of a quote unquote traditional point guard as I thought he might be coming into college.
Yeah, I think he actually. I went back and looked at the projections I put out not too long ago. I guess it was over the summer, and he scored like 3 to 4 points more points per game than I projected him to, but averaged like 3 assists less than I projected him to.
Well, I was just, it made me think of like all those players that Arkansas has had going through, whether it's the players that they expected to be great or players that didn't work out. But with Anthony Black, I was like, you could have been a triple single machine, but we saw the triple single players get All-American, like Willie Cauley-Stein did. Not that I'm going to be bringing that up again.
Yeah.
So, also a quick question. This actually comes from somebody tweeted it at me. It comes from Paul, but he says, "Is there any chance that Arkansas has a worse win total season, worse win total season under Cal than what he did at Kentucky?" And I guess his worst season was 9-16, right? Which
he had a
COVID year.
Couple rough years at Kentucky.
He's not going to do that.
No.
And then the NIT year, they weren't very good.
Yeah, they went. Well, here's what's crazy, and I'm not disagreeing because they weren't. But if you take away that COVID year of 9-16, his worst win total was 21, where they went to the NIT. So I guess it's like, yeah, he had 21 wins. The next worst was 22 wins, which was 2 years ago, and then the next worst was 23 wins, which was last year. So. I mean, if your worst year is 21 wins,
that's about. I was going to say, like, I think the bottom end would be that like 20, 21, 22 win range.
Yeah. I guess the question also would be, do you think he ever gets to his total win total, his highest win total that he had at Kentucky at 38?
Probably not.
I think they could do that. He'll be somewhere in between 21 and 38, if I had to guess.
Yes, somewhere in between there each and every year. It's a good average, good range.
Good range. Yeah, that's the wheelhouse. So
yeah, that's the good range there.
Well, that 38 win team wasn't even the team that won the title, right?
Yes, it was. Well, one of them was.
That was Anthony Davis.
They went
with Devin Booker and all those guys. We're like 30.
So they went 38-2 the year they won with Anthony Davis, and they went 38-1 with the Devin Booker and everything. So
that's brutal, man.
That's so many. That's so much. Like that, if you want to combine the two, that's two decent seasons in one. If you won 20 games in one and 18 in the other, it's not bad.
Yeah,
so,
legit. That's a good point.
That Arkansas team was really good. That with the Devin Booker Cal year, where they went 38-1, they could have played that Kentucky team 100 times and would have lost to that Kentucky team 100 times. Like it was just one of those things where I think they played them 3 times actually, maybe just twice.
3.
But it was like it was like they had their number. They could not, and I mean nobody else could except for Frank Kaminsky.
Yep.
But I just remember being so frustrated in those games because you just felt helpless.
Well, and that's also, if I'm not mistaken, the only time Arkansas finished second in the SEC overall, like since 2000. So that was a year one. Like it's just classic Arkansas. Probably any other year you may win the SEC regular season, but because that one Kentucky team that was unreal, that was pretty intense. So
yeah,
man, I can't wait. It's gonna be great to see just how people get pissy and like try to like if Arkansas goes and only wins 25 regular season games. Like there's it's like at Kentucky you would have won 30.
Yep.
It's like it's the way it's going to be, man. The latter guy says, who was that guy who had the brand on his arm? Played for Mike Anderson, wore number 4, I think, transferred into
Durham, right?
Yeah. Most Jabril Durham.
He had a brand on his arm?
Yeah. It was like
a weird thing.
Looked kind of disgusting, I won't lie. Him and Jonathan Pookie Monica had a brand. Pookie Monica had a brand on his shoulder.
Okay.
Shout out to Smackover from where
Jonathan Monica
always
was a bucket getter.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Man, yeah, that recruiting class with him and Eric Ferguson, for sure, is a staple for.
How about Joe Ferguson getting a reference on the video game last night? That was nuts.
Yeah,
that came out of nowhere, man.
I did. This shows you how little I play the game with the broadcast going on because I didn't know that they made references like that. But
I knew they made references like that, but I really don't play with Arkansas a ton. But I've gotten Ryan Mallett before, and I've gotten Darren McFadden before. Had not heard Joe Ferguson until last night.
I can't wait till they throw like an obscure one in there, just like
like Jonathan Lewig's creating space there in the middle.
Yeah, it's like go back and be like they used to have this guy named Zach Painter back from the '98 football team, played strong safety, and he was the academic All-American. It's like, all right, okay, relax. Aiden says Sonny Weems was throwing lobs in the NBA dunk contest when he was on the Raptors. That's a good point.
Good point. Fair.
Kim August says, I'm the only one that thought that Anton Beard played here for a decade.
You are not.
No, if he did, it was 9 years too long.
Yeah, it was.
Anton Beard, big time, was around on some pretty good teams.
Not afraid to take the big shot.
No. In fact, he and BJ Young, the two Razorbacks, where their best year was their freshman year. I think that was it. That was as
but
good as
BJ
it got.
Young was actually good as a freshman.
Yes, true. Just saying, like, they regressed after their first year.
Peak was whenever he won that state title. Or did he win 2 state titles?
2, yeah. Pretty sure.
I remember like that was the only thing I knew about him coming into Arkansas, and I was like, winning pedigree. Love it.
That's all you needed to know. Let's go ahead and jump into our Alumni Hall question of the day, sponsored by Alumni Hall, the #1 place to get all of your Razorback apparel right there at 3417 North College Avenue. If you're coming in for the exhibition game tonight and you need some of that sweet slobber hog apparel, they got it all right there at Alumni Hall in their store, conveniently located there on College. You can also shop them online at alumnihall.com/Arkansas-Razorbacks. It's Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. It's a very simple question. What are you looking forward to the most tonight in Bud Walton Arena? Because some people are not expecting a whole lot, whether it's about players playing or not playing. But according to some of the responses here we got on the Twitters or the X's, the X machine, Cliff says, nothing negative to must, but field goal percentage means a lot more than unrelentless defense.
All right.
So he's expect to see high percentages in the shooting side of things.
We're moving away from the FTAs. Is that what's happening here?
It's what it sounds like to me.
Going to the 3 PAs.
I'm going to be honest. Some of these responses I think are season, not just for tonight. My goal is just for tonight, but some people are saying season. Like Patty says, team leader and togetherness.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what you're going to see for sure tonight. Maybe, but there's that. John says, seeing Cal and our old players and recruits, no hate here. I'm just going to enjoy watching them. I don't know why you would say that's hate, but Jordan says, can't wait to see the new.
Maybe that was a Kentucky fan.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Cal and the guys who were supposed to be playing for us. Kind of.
Yeah, okay, I do see that.
What a respectable comment from a Kentucky fan. He's just like,
Thank you.
Those guys were committed to my school. Now they're at a different one. I'd like to see them have some success.
That seems like a troll. That seems like a troll
we view
comment.
the world through that lens.
Jordan says, can't wait to see the new guys. If offense doesn't stall out and we can hit our shots, I'll be happy. That's what he says.
Offense is probably going to stall. I mean, it's inevitable that it's probably going to be a little stagnant at times tonight. So I would expect that. But then, when that happens, who are the dudes who are going to be able to kind of go rogue and make plays?
Mm-hmm. Also, some of these comments are strange. Britt says, thy will be done. May the best team win.
All right.
That's in response to that. I don't.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, of course.
Speaking of comments, by the way, shout out to Kingsley, who says, welcome to the Dry Snitch Friday edition of Inside Arkansas Live. We've got folks just out here like narking. Have y'all seen this in the comments? I'm not going to pull them up. We've got some narcs in the comments. I'm just saying.
It's crazy.
About what? I've not been paying attention.
Former Razorback athletes that they've seen partake in illegal activities.
Oh, my gosh.
Jeez.
Come on, everybody relax, all right? There's the statute of limitations. Leave it alone. Lane says, how the freshmen's look when playing against high-level college basketball teams. Also want to see Big Z, what he does tonight with Jonas possibly being out.
Hell yeah. Big Z. That's the most underrated story about this entire thing. People are going to love this kid.
Yep. Also love this one from Brian, because I feel like this is a lot of Razorback fans agree with, but they won't say it. But he did. He says, learn the players' names besides Trevin Brazil.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep. that's a true thing, man. There's so many players that's like, oh, who is that? Everyone's going to have their roster on their phone just looking and trying to figure it all out. Mm-hmm. And then Cliff, also different Cliff, says, all the players that can actually shoot the ball. And then Bryce says, some slam dunks.
That's a good answer right there.
Yeah, I love that answer.
I wish more people
threes and dunks, man.
More people were just like, I'm coming to a basketball game. I want to see the dunk. Right there.
Yeah. Yep. And then as soon as they see the dunk, they say, I'm satisfied, and they leave.
I like that. Well, because dunks, you don't have to explain dunks. You just see it happen. You're like, that's cool. I like that.
Yep.
But
it's good stuff.
I will say everyone, and the freshmen it's going to be big to watch the freshmen, just get our first real look at their first taste of real competition. I'll tell you the guy I've got my eye on a lot is a guy that a lot of people have their eye on is DJ Wagner. I really want to get a good sense of just how much progress he's made from year 1 to year 2. And of course, he was not healthy. Cal has done that rant 1,000 times. But I think tonight is going to be, especially depending on who else playing for Arkansas, might be a night where he might have to just pony up and take 15 shots. I really want to get a feel because, DJ Wagner's one where you could talk me into a lot of things where if he's the same player he was last year, I'm not that excited. I don't think it moves the needle a ton for this team. But if you think he's closer to the guy he was projected to be as a 5-star, you're talking about something. If you're talking really just about a more efficient version of who he was last year, that excites me too. So I'm really excited to get like a feel for just how much progress he's made. And we'll get more answers down the road. But he's one of my, if I were just like talking about individual players, he's one I've got circled where I really am curious to overanalyze every move he makes.
Yeah, me too. I think he's going to be better in a lot of ways. I want him to attempt at least 5 threes in this game tonight. And the reason I do is because I just want to see it before it counts. But I think about the tip-off tour and in some of the drills they were doing and just watching them in warm-ups, I was like, okay, there's something here. Like, I think this dude he's definitely better than the 29% or whatever he shot from 3 last year. I don't think he's ever going to be a 40% shooter, but I think he could be serviceable. And that's all you need. That way, you know, opponents aren't helping off of you, or they're not going under every ball screen and clogging things up. But when they were doing some live action stuff, it felt like maybe it was almost like Taylor Green, who in certain settings, like his mechanics have really improved or whatever, but then like the bullets are flying, as I apparently like to say. Then you kind of fall back into some old habits. And I thought I saw a little bit of that. So let it fly a little bit, man. Not a bunch of off the dribble stuff, but if he's got some catch and shoot opportunities, I would like to see him take pretty much every one he has the chance to take with live game reps, just to see how it looks.
By the way, also... Go
ahead, John.
No. You go ahead. Mine's not near as important.
I was just going to say, well, with all the guards, I mean, we know Nelly Davis, I'd say he's the safest bet to be good, to be a key factor in whatever everything Arkansas is doing offensively. But with Fland and Wagner, and you could even really throw Knox into this equation, I'm really interested to see who's going to be the best at playing off the ball. Because we know all these guys, you know, with Boogie Fland, when he has the ball in his hands, very good creator, creating space for himself and others. DJ Wagner is a guy that can do some things off the bounce. But who's going to feel better playing off ball? Because I think all 3 of those guys, including Davis, are going to kind of be asked to do that. So who looks the most comfortable? And so you mentioned the spot up opportunities for DJ Wagner. I would love to see him embrace that and be like a legitimate 2 guard that's ready to catch and shoot and fire whenever he needs to. And so, you know, Boogie Fland, I think that's going to be one of the most interesting things about his transition is like, you're not going to have the ball in your hands. You know, you're not going to have a 30% usage rate. You're going to have to kind of move off the ball and be ready to play off of these other guys. And so I'm excited to see how that dynamic works in the backcourt for sure.
I love that you said that because one of the things that stood out to me during the tip-off thing when they were doing the 5-on-5 against the GAs or whatever, I thought Carter Knox looked really good as like a basket cutter from the corner. And him and Big Z seem to have some good chemistry, good communication on that. That looked good. And then also, I thought DJ Wagner, he looked like a leader on the floor off the ball, and he was kind of, you know, going down on the wing or whatever. You'll see that if like Cal likes to run a lot of false motion early, and they'll get into a little bit of diamond or floppy, whatever the hell you want to call it. But basically, it's just bigs who are down there getting ready to set a down screen to free up the guy who's really going to initiate your play. And so it almost doesn't matter who brings the ball down the floor. Like they like to do it with a shooter. So it could be a deal where DJ brings the ball up and it's Boogie who's coming off of those screens to kind of initiate things, or they could do it the other way around with DJ coming off and they've got some counters and some actions that could get him baseline drives. So I like the dynamic with both of those dudes sharing the floor together. And then with Nelly Davis, we just haven't seen it yet. But he was really impressive off the ball at FAU. He's a go-getter and, you know, a guy who can create offense for you. But he's a hell of a basket cutter, too. He's a smart player. So it's going to be interesting to see for sure. That was a good point.
I just want to put this up there that these are the no slander list that is allowed here on the show. No
yes.
Hudson Clark slander, no John Bolton slander, no Trevin Brazil slander. None of that.
I like that. I like that a lot.
We're adding to the list slowly but surely. We got all the 3 majors.
Man TB now. Come on.
Two times now, TB has chosen to come back to Arkansas when he really didn't have to. And he really, really didn't have to whenever they got out. But, you know, like Cal said, he wanted to be a part of it. He wants to be a hog. There's something to be said about that.
That's right.
And I think he's a pretty good basketball player at the end of the day.
Yep. And also throw into, isn't it crazy last year going into the year? And I'm not trying to compare it, but like last year going into the year, it's like Trevin Brazil might be the best player on the team or one of the best players on the team or whatever. And now this year it's like, oh, you got Trevin Brazil. And man, I don't know if he's even top 5 player on the team right now. Like that just shows you the talent. And it's not an insult against Trevin Brazil. It just shows you the talent influx that Arkansas has right now. Or last year, you're like, man, Brazil, you know, he's a guy. He's got to be our guy. He's got to do this. Now this year, it's like, Brazil could be a complimentary piece coming off the bench. You know, it's like that type of mentality. It just shows you how much talent is on this team right now.
I'll never forgive Eric Musselman for literally, I mean, he outed himself by saying, yeah, we're building this thing around Trevor Brazile 2 years in a row, and then just using him in the worst possible ways that go away from his strengths. It just, I'll never understand why they did that.
Trevor Brazile,
Cal doesn't do the same.
He was the worst 2-guard on the planet last year,
Yeah,
but I think he can be a pretty good 4-man this year.
Yeah, exactly. It's nuts. If I don't see him in ball screens, I'm going to lose my damn mind.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Muss watches Arkansas tonight?
Yeah,
I bet he does.
1,000%, especially because they're playing Kansas. You know what I mean? Like if they were playing Rogers State, he'd probably keep an eye on it. But the fact that it's 2 of the top programs, he's going to be. Hey, you know who else is going to be watching Arkansas tonight, John? Everyone.
It's true. It's true. Everyone's going to be watching. And you know who's going to be watching probably more than Razorback fans? Kentucky fans. Because they're obsessed. They can't handle it. They can't handle it at all. Don't worry. We're going to still talk about basketball, folks. We're not changing the topic, but it is partly in. We're going to do basketball, SEC basketball, at least a little bit, for your SEC update presented by Rhoback, one of our new sponsors here at Inside Arkansas Live. Love their clothing. We had a lot of people actually telling us that they have already purchased some of the fine Razorback Rhoback clothing. You can do so by going to Rhoback.com. Enter in promo code HOGSBY20. HOGSBY20. You get 20% off your first purchase with Rhoback. They got performance hoodies, shorts, pullovers, joggers, polos, quarter zips, everything. So check them out today at Rhoback.com and use promo code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your first purchase. So looking at the SEC landscape, we know who picked who and what they're expecting out of this. But I was curious and just wanted to bring this up for you guys of looking at the Arkansas schedule in the SEC, which we know is what didn't do any favors. It's going to be tough no matter what. But home-wise, other than Alabama, really, your toughest games are going to be on the road. Besides the Kentucky game, which is the obvious one, which is the other SEC game on the schedule for Arkansas are you looking forward to the most? Whether it's for the matchup, for the coaches, for the moment, like which game are you looking forward to the most?
I mean, the opener is one of the better games on the schedule at Tennessee on January 4th. Cal and Rick Barnes, Jonas Adu going back to play against his former team. Both teams are going to be really, really good, and that's a hell of a tough place to play, I think. And yeah, like Cal's debut, his first SEC game with Arkansas, that'll be a hell of a game that I'm really looking forward to. The Texas stuff is always going to be exciting. I'll be more excited about it when they come to Fayetteville. I think fans will be pumped for that, and they should have a pretty good team too. I don't know. It's hard to even put anything in comparison for me with the at Kentucky and home against Alabama. Those will probably be the next closest, but there's some sneaky good games in there.
Ole Miss at home is one, and that's pretty early in conference play, right? Might be the home opener in conference.
It is.
Second game.
Yeah, so that's I think that's going to be one that's buzzing. Likely a tournament team. Obviously, there's the Chris Beard aspect to it, and I just think it's like going to be that'll be the first home game at Bud in a while, right? Or maybe not a while, but like over a week, because there's like that Christmas break little stretch. So I think fans will be really buzzing for that to open up conference play. I think that's going to be. It'll probably be like 12 degrees, but
it'll be the first real game or high major opponent coming into Bud Walton since tonight. So. Right.
So yeah, I think after tonight you're going to see a little bit of a lull in the home attendance and the home atmosphere. I think that Ole Miss game, it'll just kind of be just due to all those reasons. That one's going to have a lot of juice behind it. And if Arkansas beats Tennessee, they'll be excited. And if they lose to Tennessee, it becomes a little bit of a high stakes game where it's like, hey, you really don't want to fall to 0-2 to start SEC play. So that'll be fun.
At Auburn is a doozy as well.
Well, I was about to say, I was going to throw in a really bold prediction that nobody's, I'm sure, going to remember. But I'm picking Auburn on the road because I think Arkansas wins that game by 23 points. Calling my shot.
Baby. Okay.
They beat Auburn by 23 points in that game. And the only reason I'm saying that is because Arkansas is coming off of a kind of a weird stretch there where they have LSU at home in that mix. But you're talking about a stretch where they go to Kentucky, to Texas, Alabama at home, then LSU, and then at Texas A&M. Like, that's a tough stretch.
It's brutal. Yeah.
And I think that Arkansas gets towards the end of that, and those Auburn fans and everybody in that little piece of crap, tiny little stadium of theirs that they think is so loud and crazy, they're going to be hyped up because they're going to be good, and everyone's going to think, oh, man, Arkansas, they're limping into this one. They may have lost to they may have lost to Bama and A&M or whatever. It's going to be tough, blah, 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 blah. And they're going to go in, they're just going to beat the brakes off of them. And so that's my weird, random bowl prediction that, probably nobody will care or remember, but calling my shot.
Oh, I like that, man.
23
I like
point.
that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Auburn's got really high projections everywhere, but Matt Norlander, he is fading Auburn this year the way he faded Arkansas last year, and he turned out to be right. But he was very much like, "Hey, Janai Broome is awesome, but I don't know if I'm really buying it with the rest of this roster." And so now he's got all the Auburn fans on his neck instead of Arkansas. But he's kind of a wizard in picking the team that everybody's high on that winds up not really being that good. And so maybe he's on to something with Pearl and the boys.
Turned out he gave Arkansas too much credit last year. Had them as one of the top 50 teams in the country. He was wrong. But yeah, Auburn. But to be fair, I look at Auburn's roster every year and I think that where I'm like, do I really like this roster? They got these 5'11" guards that can't shoot, and they somehow end up kind of making it work regardless.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to hate because I still think they'll be a good team, but I just have this feeling that Auburn team from, what was it, 2021, 2022, that was their shot. That was the best team that they were going to assemble that year. And when it didn't happen, they'll still be a good team. Don't get me wrong, like a team that'll be in the tournament. But I feel like as far as being a national champion, Final Four, next level talented team, I feel like that was their best shot at it right there. And I think they lost in the second round to Miami.
Yeah, Miami got them.
Yeah. So. All right. So another question on dealing with the SEC and dealing with the schedule too. What is the game the random game that concerns you? Like, it's a game against a team that Arkansas will be better than and should be, but you're like, that gives me bad vibes. Well, maybe the placement of it or where it's at or something like that. Because I can give you mine. I'll go ahead and give you mine.
Yeah,
because
go for it.
It's just, I hate this. I hate to even bring this up, but at Missouri. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. The reason I'm saying at Missouri is because Arkansas starts at Tennessee and then Ole Miss at home, all right? 2 tough games, and then Florida at home, which Florida's preseason top 25. So you're talking about 3 straight games to open up the season. That's really difficult. Say if Arkansas goes 2-1 in those games, which I think is fair, especially if they win both those games at home. Then they go to LSU, they should win that. And that vibe of, okay, you're feeling it. You're starting 3-1. You got Georgia and Oklahoma after that. And at home, easy wins. I just think that's a weirdly placed game to where it's going to mean a lot to Missouri. And you're maybe overlooking a little bit or maybe thinking you're going to cruise into that Kentucky game, whatever it is. That game in particular gives me a weird vibe of getting a loss that you shouldn't lose at 5 p.m. there in Columbia. That's mine.
Yeah. No, that's I think that's a pretty good one. I gotta tell you, man, like the biggest trap game that I see on the schedule has nothing to do with the SEC. Honestly, it's December 7th against UTSA, and I know people are like, "What the hell do you mean?" But it's just you're gonna have this run where you have the huge game against Illinois on Thanksgiving, and then you got the big SEC ACC challenge right after that against Miami. And then this game is just smack dab in between that and going to Madison Square Garden. And you're just playing this, this mid-major coming to bud. And, it looks like it might be right around, getting close to finals week and stuff. You don't know what the crowd's going to look like. And UTSA, they're going to be better than people think. I've said it before, but they went and got one of Alabama's assistant coaches. He's got a bunch of former high major guards. They're going to shoot a crap ton of threes. They're going to play really fast. I just have a feeling that game, I don't think Arkansas is going to lose that game, but I think it's going to get weird, man, and way more uncomfortable than people want it to.
I tell you, the worst performance I think Arkansas is going to have all year. I am going to go back to conference play at A&M on February 15th, because we kind of mentioned this stretch a lot where you go at Kentucky, at Texas, Bama at home, and then the LSU game. I think they'll beat LSU, and regardless of what they did in those 3 big games before that, I feel like that's going to be kind of a, you go back on the road, you play LSU on Wednesday, and then you go back on the road on Saturday and play at 11 a.m. You have A&M and then Auburn. I think that's a tough 2-game stretch that people have kind of overlooked a little bit because of the stretch before it. But I think they're gonna lay an absolute egg in College Station at 11 a.m. that day.
It's just it's unbelievable, just nasty work by the SEC that you're going to give Arkansas an 8 p.m. Wednesday game, and then have them go on the road and play an 11 a.m. on a Saturday. Unreal.
You know what that's called? That's called a quick turnaround. That's what I've heard. That's called a quick turnaround.
Boy, we could insert the quotes right now from us, man.
I can't wait. Because you know what happened? Like, what if Arkansas wins both those games? What happened? Well, I mean, I'm just saying, just throwing the question out. Yeah, it could happen. It could happen. Also, real quick, too, wanted to throw this out there. BetSaracen, the BetSaracen app, folks, go check it out. It's the #1 sports betting app here in the state of Arkansas. We're sticking with basketball, so stay with us. But there is a bet. You can bet on the exhibition game tonight, according to BetSaracen, where Kansas is a 4.5-point favorite in this game. You can bet on this. You guys taking any of that action?
Hell no.
I'm not going to bet on it.
There are too many variables at play. The game is weird. Like we don't know for sure what their situational stuff is going to look like. We don't know who's playing and who's not. I got to stay away from that one. I love that they did it though. They put a $50 minimum or a maximum. On it, right?
Yeah. Okay, if you're trying to bet more than $50 on an exhibition basketball game, come on.
You need to call that hotline.
Yeah, you need some serious help there too. Honestly, though, here's the deal: as I will bet on this. I am going to bet Kansas -4.5. I
think I am too. Actually,
I'm sorry. It's like because that's basketball. It's so different because basketball, unlike football. You can get an idea, but dude, basketball, you're talking about team fouling late and trying to get the ball back, and then free throws get made at the end and extends their lead to where they win by more than they probably should have. Like there's just a lot of things in there that could go wrong. So, but yeah, if I'm going to bet on somebody, I'm bet on Kansas and all that. And Bill Self, seeing him, it'll be cool seeing him there tonight. Is there any other celebrities or anybody of note? Because it's Larry Brown, didn't Cal said Larry Brown was trying to get him to come to this game tonight or something?
Yeah, I don't know if he's actually going to be there or not, but yeah, he was one of the guys. I think he invited Nolan obviously back out, but yeah, I don't know, given the unfortunate circumstances there. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I don't know. As of right now, I don't think they're going to have any major recruits there. That could change, but
yeah, I didn't know.
In through a back door somewhere.
Yeah. We'll see Ronnie Brewer walking down with some 7'3" dude. I love how they do that. They bring him in, then you just see Brew walking down the bleachers in the middle with like 30 minutes before the game. You're like, oh, that's a recruit.
Yeah, there's not a lot of subtlety there for that. Okay, complete side note. I can probably tell this story now. Did I tell you guys about the time when I was sitting at a Razorback baseball game and Muss was with his son, Michael, and they were bringing in Keon Minifield and somebody else. There was like a 5-star player on a recruiting visit, and they sat literally right next to me. No. And it was making me extremely uncomfortable because the girl that was sitting with me apparently previously had a thing with Michael Musselman. And I was in between them, and it got weird. And then Muss was really cool and over the top nice to me. But then I can also tell that he was really hoping I was not going to talk to him or talk to the players or try to get scoops or anything like that, which I wouldn't do. So then at this Razorback baseball game that I was enjoying, it was against, I believe, Tennessee, Andrew, when Arkansas swept them. I was just sitting in my seat, and I've never felt more uncomfortable in my life. But I remember I wanted to talk to those recruits so bad, or those guys, and see if they were, get their ideas and everything. But that was really tough. That was a tough situation I got put in. So
that's a tough one, man.
that's just what I'm going to throw it out there. And I didn't even know that there was beef between her and Michael. I was just like, she leaned over to me. She's like, and she started telling me all this stuff, and he leans over. He's like, I was like, what the crap? And y'all are just like, can y'all figure this out? I'm trying to see if Stovall gets on base. Like, leave me alone.
The middleman.
Yeah, seriously, man, seriously. But yeah, check out the BetSaracen app, folks. You can bet on the game tonight. And as well as get into some of the action for college football this weekend, too. Plenty of that going on. Any bets you guys feel really strong about this weekend? Taking anything? Feeling really good?
Not football. I don't have many football bets that I feel great about. I tell you, Barry Odom tonight, sneaky dog.
Sneaky dog.
Sneaky dog.
9:30 p.m. kickoff, I believe that is. Them versus Boise State. They're going to be tasked with trying to slow down Ashton Jeanty. Jackson Woodard versus Ashton Jeanty is what this Heisman is coming down to, frankly. By the way, I say that like kind of jokingly, but Jackson Woodard is having a freaking phenomenal year.
He is.
He's
going to end up being potentially an All-American at linebacker, which is awesome to see. Shout out to Michael Shear. But that's going to be a really fun game. I believe, Boise State's favored by 3.5. I think UNLV can beat them.
Do you think that they'll give Jeanty the Heisman if he keeps going the way he's going? I feel like they're going to screw him out of it.
If he ends up with 1,000 or 2,000 yards, it's going to be hard not to. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it would make me very disappointed in it. I did want to bring up too, if you guys are looking for betting on Arkansas Razorback basketball seasons, Arkansas right now, according to BetSaracen, future plus 1,200 to win the national title. And if you want to compare that, that's the same odds as the Alabama Crimson Tide.
I was going to say 12-1.
And the only teams that are higher is UConn at plus 850, because, I mean, it's UConn.
That's what they do.
Duke and Kansas are tied for plus 1,000. So technically, Arkansas is tied for third as the highest odds to win the national championship in college basketball this year.
Sheesh. Man, I didn't know that. I love it.
I don't know how I feel about it, but yeah. So if you want to get in on that, and also if you want to bet on the John R. Wooden Award winner, which I guess is the Heisman for college basketball, for that, John L. Davis is plus 3,000 to be the player of the year. The one that's the highest is R.J. Davis at plus 700, Hunter Dickinson at plus 750, Mark Sears at plus 900. Janai Baroom at plus 2,000. Get out of here.
How would Janai Baroom be the player of the year? Like, he's a very good player, but like, is he going to average 22 a game or something? Like, he seems like one of those guys who's like a very high floor. I just don't know how he would be the player of the year in the country. I
don't know either. But also at plus 2,000 is LJ Cryer and AJ Storer. So those are the players that are higher. But the player that's right below at plus 4,000, Caliph Battle.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. KB, let's go, man.
Dude, hey, Gonzaga produces some player of the year candidates now.
I mean, they're going to win a lot of games.
Yes, they are. We know that
Caliph have like just a freaking awesome year.
Yeah. I mean, I would too. I would too. I've always been a fan. I was trying to think if there's any other former Hogs on here or anybody of note. What's that?
No T Mark?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for to see.
Mayfall, Kansas State.
Layden Blocker, DePaul.
Oh, Devo's here. No, I'm just kidding. That was mean. I'm sorry. I did learn that there's a player with the last name Queen. Did you guys know that? I'm sure you did, Curtis.
Derek Queen. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know why I asked. Like, I know you know.
I thought his name was Mississippi.
Ooh. Okay, Jonas Adu is on the list.
Okay.
Plus 20,000.
Wow.
So if you want Jonas Adu, you think he's going to be the player of the year?
Yeah.
He's another one where I'm like, I don't know how he would win player of the year.
That's probably why he's plus.
He's a very good player, but I just don't think he's gonna have the numbers. And really, I don't think John L. Davis. I think John L. Davis is gonna be Arkansas's best player. Probably gonna average 18 points a game. But I feel like the guys that win player of the year, there's a huge gap between how good they are and the rest of their team. And I feel like nobody on Arkansas's team is gonna be that big of a gap.
No.
Where
Also,
they're shouldering all the scoring load.
Curtis, Tremont Mark is on the list. He's plus 7,500. So if you wanted to.
All right.
That's a good value right there.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier that this is going to be the first game that I formally covered where Devo Davis wasn't out there, but then I remembered he quit like once a year, so that's not technically true. So,
yeah. So how many games was he out officially in his career at Arkansas? Like 3, 4?
Well, he missed the Troy game that first year. I think that was the only one, and then last year he missed a handful.
Yeah, maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So
by the way,
5 or 6 total, I bet.
By the way, the Razorback women's basketball team does not have odds on winning the title this year. So
I knew it was a tough scene for them, but I did not realize they were projected to be that bad when they were last in the league.
It's bad when you send a girl that doesn't speak English to media days.
That was crazy, man. I felt bad for her, dude. Like, yeah, firing off a bunch of, how it is. We know how it is. We were just there at those podiums, and it's like, here's here's a dozen, recorders or whatever put in your face and cameras. We're just going to fire off questions. And that's tough.
Right. Even if you speak English, it's a tough situation. So like for someone that's probably not super comfortable, honestly, like I really did that. I didn't like that.
No, I didn't either. By the way, just to show you the difference also in women's college basketball and men's college basketball, South Carolina to win the national championship is plus 160.
Oh, dude, I might just take that. I can't believe it's plus odds.
Yeah. So if you're feeling good on South Carolina winning again, you can go ahead and bet on that. UConn's at plus 400. USC's at plus 425. Did not know that they have a really good women's team. Apparently,
they still have that girl,
that girl
in the country.
DJ Wagner's girlfriend.
Oh, are they
that's
still
what they were
dating?
saying? I don't think so, but
Okay.
I don't know if they ever actually were, but that was the thing for a minute. Juju Watkins, right?
They had me fooled, man.
And also,
Juju Watkins, she's really good.
I'm not hating on BetSaracen. It's just strange because they list Texas as plus 600, but they list them as UT Austin Longhorns.
I love that.
Yeah,
UT
they
Austin.
should do that exclusively across the board when they refer to Texas.
UT Austin Longhorns, not any of those other ones. But but if you're also feeling froggy on the BetSaracen app, folks, you can bet on the Greek Basketball League, BBL, Serie A,
BBL,
Pro A, BBL.
Hey,
I'm afraid to say what some of these are because I feel like I'm going to mispronounce them. Like the nope, I'm not going to do it. The Super LIG. I don't know what that is.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can just bet on a lot.
We got to find out where P Bev is playing and
he's in Israel.
Throw some coin down. I don't know what league it is.
Yeah, I don't know what the name of the league is.
It's the Israel League.
Yeah,
I don't know either. I don't know either. Yeah, I'm done with that. So, anyways,
Are you fading Coach Stig this week? His quarterback's out, and they're still -6 at home against Washington, who's got Will Rogers going to check the ball down.
Oh, against Washington?
Washington sucks, so like Indiana should beat them, but they don't have their quarterback, which makes me a little nervous. I think Coach Stig eventually is going to drop one, but I don't know if it's this week.
I think they'll win this one, but it's going to be tough on them.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about our man Burt this weekend?
Who's he got?
Oregon.
Oh no, they're like 20-point
losing.
underdogs. I think they can cover. They're plus 21.5 on BetSaracen.
I respect that. Man, did y'all see Kyle McCord last night?
dude,
Yeah, he threw 3 touchdown passes in the first half.
Yeah, he did. That was nuts, man. And I thought in that game when they were, I guess they beat UNLV. Yeah, they won that game down there, but he was like throwing into traffic a lot. And I was thinking, holy hell, man, like you're getting away with some. Not against Pitt. You don't do that against the Panthers, buddy. 5 picks, 3 pick sixes, and he didn't get benched.
Yeah,
Pretty
dude,
impressive.
I saw there's like 40 FBS teams who do not have as many interceptions as Pitt had last night.
Wow. Taylor
Arkansas is
Green
not on
had
that
6 interceptions this season.
Yeah.
Kyle McCord had 5 last night.
Yeah,
And so he had a Nick Starkel game is what it sounds like.
He did.
Or maybe a Matt Corral game if you would.
Matt Corral did it twice in 1 year.
Yes.
And still was like first team or second team all SEC.
That was my favorite thing is seeing him. He had 13 picks on the year, but 11 of them were in 2 games.
It's crazy, bro.
When he threw picks, he threw picks now. He made sure he got his money's worth.
He's like a streaky 3-point shooter who can't hit threes, but then you catch him on the right night and he's 4 for 7. It's like, well,
Yeah, just ridiculous. I keep getting people tweeting about will the game be streamed. The game's going to be on SEC Network tonight. SEC Network. It is streamed on the ESPN Plus app or whatever. Watch. Is it called the Watch ESPN app? I guess it's just the ESPN app now.
Yeah, it's the ESPN app now. But yeah, it's whatever it is, the ESPN app. It's a shameful app, but you can find the game there for sure.
Also, and I know it's going to be kind of late, and I know there's football tomorrow morning, but we are doing a post-game show.
Yep.
Andrew and I, at least. John's doing his thing now where he's becoming a creator, a maestro behind the scenes of capturing moments, which what he did at SEC Media Day was really cool. He's going to be doing that again. But no, me and Andrew are going live. We got to get back home. We can't go live at Bud Walton Arena anymore. They're not having it. So
they got the red dot on our foreheads if we start going live.
So we live right down the road or whatever. So as close to right after the end of the game as possible. We're gonna go live and we're gonna talk about it. So join us It'll be fun.
I appreciate the sentiments, Curtis, but the main reason is because it just would truly expose how little I know about the game of basketball. And that's why I'm just gonna.
Hey, listen, man.
I'm just gonna be over here, like, because that's the thing is like when I'm doing my Locked On podcast or when I was doing this other stuff, it's like, man, I could BS, I could find a way. But then when I'm sitting here, Curtis, and just being like, yeah, dude, they're running a floppy over here, and they ran the Johnson decided the plays over here, like. Well, I really like that shot they made that one time. Like,
I like how you went from floppy to Johnson.
I like the dunk. Dunk. I like that. I can't get over that. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Slam
when
dunks.
It counts, when the games start to count, John is absolutely going to have to at least make some cameos, especially after losses, because we need that visceral reaction. It's not the same without that. So
yeah. Well, no, I'll be mad. I just don't know what I'll be mad at. That's the problem. Like in basketball, I'll be mad. I'll be like, why didn't they make that three that was wide open? It's like so stupid. It's like this. It doesn't make any sense. It's like you should be able to do that. So yeah, there'll be some appearances and things there here and there. But I'll leave the basketball knowing to Curtis, and I'll just be here making videos and getting reactions from fans because that's usually what I'm good at, or at least I think I am. So. Get to a few of your chats, and we'll play that a little bit too. Petrino Durrell, attorney at law, says, "Are they still playing Oklahoma game in Tulsa? That was a fun game, but it was not a fun. It was never a fun game. So I don't know what you're saying. It was fun for who? Fun for Oklahoma?
Nothing fun about that, man. Like it was always freezing ass cold, and the arena was weird, and the media seating was strange, and the coach kept getting kicked out. They kept losing the freaking game. No, it wasn't."
They would have us in the sting seats.
Yeah, and people were feeding each other with their hands. Yeah, it was just weird. Let's see. Brooks says, whoever scores first tomorrow wins, I'm afraid. Hope Hogs get ball first.
I don't know about
the football side of things, right?
I'm very, very adamant about you do not want the beginning of this game to go wrong if you're Arkansas.
No.
You turn it over and give up a score or something early, and those cowbells get going, and those guys actually believe they could win a football game. That's not a situation you want to be in.
Why is our chat? They're anti-defer these days.
I don't know. Yeah,
look, I get wanting to get off to a good start. I understand that, but if you ask for the ball first, you pretty much have to score. Or, that's the way to get behind the 8-ball. If you kick off and you give up a score, you at least get a chance to go score and you can settle into the game. Plus, if you get a stop, that gives you some momentum. But if you ask for the ball first, you pretty much have to score or else you're an idiot.
I got a theory, and it's probably not right, but I feel like because when Petrino was the head coach at Arkansas, the dude took the ball every single time. He received the ball every time. And I think people in their minds are like, oh, it's the Petrino thing. You want to get out there and you want to score first. So that's the way it needs to be. It's like, well, what happens sometimes the other team wins the toss and then you have no choice. So, yes. And in a perfect world,
when the other team wins the toss, they'll usually give you the ball first, frankly.
Mm-hmm. What was it? This is basketball, really. But what was it? Isn't it Muss that always made jokes about, like, sarcastically saying, whoever wins the tip wins the game? Somebody was saying that. And he made a parody video of that when it was when he was the fan in the stands yelling.
Yeah.
He's like, whoever wins the tip wins the game. You got to win the tip.
That was funny.
I will miss that about Muss. I like his early days before he got old in his years.
I thought he started feeling it in towards the end there, though.
Yeah. Dude, some of those videos were just. I remember they played on SportsCenter when COVID happened. Him yelling by himself in the gym, like in the practice arena. Good times. Anyways,
how far away were we to getting on a DJ Muss video?
I'm right there.
It wasn't out of the realm of possibility.
I don't think it was, but he was starting to slow down a little bit. But that was kind of the only regret I have.
That's the only one.
Only regret I have of the Musselman era, and picking them to be good last year.
Yeah, I'd say that was going to be mine. Chris says, "Will Cal wear a suit?" No,
I don't think so. Not tonight. Yeah.
You think he'll wear one this year?
I bet he wears one for the opener.
Yeah, he'll wear them during the actual season for sure. Yeah.
I don't want him to.
I bet he's in that. I bet he's wearing exactly what he's wearing in that picture tonight.
Yeah,
I don't want him to wear a suit though.
Oh, he's gonna wear suits. That boy wears suits.
I know. It just, I don't know. Suits are overrated. Like nobody wears suits anymore. Championship coaches, because we're gonna turn into Alabama football. It's like, hey, I'm wearing t-shirts. It's not winning traditions. If Cal starts losing in suits, I mean, he's too wind up. He's too old school. Doesn't understand it.
He's going to wear a suit, and I'm going to write a story about it. Arkansas basketball, all business.
Back to professionalism around here.
Right.
Oh man,
I mean, hell, Mutz and them, they got away from the polos and started wearing the thin hoodies, you know.
Dude, I'd say another year or two, they'd be just out there in like tank tops and muscle shirts, and like,
hey, I think they should wear Hawaiian shirts. Pretend like you're in Maui at all times.
That was a blast, man. There's nothing better than covering a game in a Hawaiian shirt.
I agree. Which apparently we have made Alumni Hall be on back order because of our sweet Hawaiian shirts we were wearing at their store.
I guess so, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
We love that. We love the fact that we can make a store have to like put stuff on back order because of us. That's a good problem to have. The latter guy says, I want to see Billy Richmond. He does not get talked about enough, and he's the odd man out of the projected rotation.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm excited for him. I was one of those people that had him on, maybe the back end of that rotation, and I think he's better than I gave him credit for, and I'm looking forward to seeing him. The dude's explosive as hell. He can fly, and he can defend. I'll give him that.
And this is kind of the opportunity. Like, he kind of has to make something shake here in these next couple of weeks if he wants to really stake his claim in the rotation.
Also, like this one, I don't know what your name is, so I'm just going to say it. But he says, "Love you guys." Flashback to early Monday morning when you shared the news. I assume of what he means, Cal, or she means when Cal was hired. Dude, isn't it kind of it's cool to me, at least. I'm sure it is to you guys. The amount of people that have referenced us in that Sunday night of our live stream and kind of the stuff that happened afterwards is really cool, because we knew it was cool in the moment. Like, it was kind of like a big pop that we had with Natty State in the beginning. But to see people still remembering that and bringing it up, like, just shows you how like impactful it was to us, but also to other people too. And it's just really cool.
Yeah, that was again, like we had Hayden sharing some of the memories from that earlier in the week, and it's something I'm never gonna forget.
Yeah.
No doubt, man. That was insane. And honestly, that's what's so freaking cool about what we're doing, is because I don't know if we'll ever have anything on that level again of just, where the hell did this come from? But we're going to have some more moments like that where something crazy happens and we're just going to be able to go live and just do the raw reaction right there with everybody. It's a blast.
Oh, it's going to be probably that level when Arkansas wins a national championship under Cal in year one. I feel like it'd probably be around there, there too. But I will say, when Hayden shared that stream that we had, Curtis, because I think it was like me and you for a while for the majority, and then Scotty came and then Andrew came. But when it was me and you, I remember you got up to get a phone call. Like, you were getting a phone call. And I remember I had to keep the stream going. But then I was like, I'm like, dude, what if Curtis comes back here? And he was like, he just drops the bomb. Like, I was like, okay, I got to make sure I'm ready. I was like, you got to clip it and like share it. I was like so nervous because I'm like, if Curtis, it's almost like seeing Adam Schefter over here, or Wojnarowski. Like, let's see. Who'd you hear that from? We getting that confirmed? It's like, I was so excited when he got back, but then, not to say that it wasn't good stuff that you got with back, but it was not what I was hoping for. But
no, it was cool. I mean, I remember, I guess it was like 2 weeks before that, the exact same thing happened to me with a
different
somebody
coach
who would freaking know, saying, "Yo, dude, it's Chris Beard." Like, it's Chris. So I sat back down and I was like, "Hey, it's Chris Beard." No, it wasn't. So we'll see if I listen to that guy anymore.
Yeah, whoever that is. Doesn't know don't know anything that they're talking about. So, but also shout out. They say ready for the bombastic too. Well, bombastic.
I'm excited, dude. The in-season bombastics are about to absolutely smack. I'm counting down the days before that really gets like up and rolling. And it's been going. We've been doing some good stuff over on Locked On as well. But in season, it's gonna be, y'all are gonna get so sick of seeing my face during baseball season. It's gonna be everywhere.
Well, that's a good thing. I want people to be sick of your face. Also, Byron's best bat says, according to football fans, Calipari had to win 90% of his games. I had that highlighted, but I don't remember why I did. But then now I'm like, I don't remember what that was in reference to.
What would that mean? That's a lot of wins. Yeah,
I guess maybe when we're talking about how the difference between looking at football seasons compared to basketball seasons, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, because people live and die. I think someone had a comment about living and dying with every game and all that.
Right, which was a good point. It might have been Heartbroken Hog that had that, but just saying that there's something to be said to John's point earlier about not living and dying on every result during basketball season. Because 31 games as opposed to 12 in football. Like, it just every football game matters that much more because you lose a couple and
It's curtains.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cedric. Says, bro, every time I think over Kansas, if you go back and watch the game in the tourney when we played them, you see John rubbing his face red. Dude.
It's iconic.
that was something to where I remember I sat down because they had, and like they're in Des Moines, they had seats for media, but then they had some that were like generic, like, or general admission, or not general admission, but like generally seating for people. And I remember like I was looking at, I was like, okay, so this seat's open, I'll sit here. Because I needed a plug-in for my laptop, and I was trying to do hardwired in, and that was one of the closest one was. And I sit down, and I'm doing that stuff, and this guy walks over. He's like, so hope you're ready for tonight. And I was like, well, yeah, it's going to be a good game or whatever. He's like, no, you're about to be on TV a lot. I was like, oh. He's like, yeah, you're right there in the camera view. I said, oh, okay, cool. And then when I saw people clipping pictures, I'm like, holy crap, I'm like right smack in the middle of it. And then, yeah, I was nervous because in the time you're referring to was the under 4 timeout when Arkansas, like it was a 1-point game. And
maybe like right after Jordan Walsh hit that go-ahead 3.
Dude, like, I mean, because that's the thing is people don't understand this. And when you're in the media and you got to be professional, you can't show emotion, you can't cheer, you can't anything. And so I know what's on the line. I know what this means. Mainly a trip to Vegas, and so I can't handle it, and I don't know what to do. I can't go to the bathroom, and I can't like talk to anybody. So I just had to do things with my hands, I guess. So yeah, good times.
The worst story that I've ever written, just because of the way it all went down, and had to rewrite it midway through, and then the back and forth, and the way it ended in the last seconds there. And then Eric Musselman jumps up on the freaking table. I'm like, damn, I got to take a picture of this dude and get it out there. I just hit publish without taking a second glance. And as we were running to the locker room, I'm just calling Andrew and I'm like, hey, you gotta jump in this story and make it not suck, dude. Like I need you here. And I had to do that all the time at the NCAA tournament because the internet sucks so bad.
It's so bad.
I'm like, bro, you gotta, can you just make sure that this gets out, please?
Yeah, that was fun because first off, I cry because I can't show emotion in a game when you're in the media. So I just my emotion has to come out of my eyeballs, I guess. So is that. But then I remember just like running to the locker room because we didn't give a crap about the press conference afterwards. Me and Curtis and Sky running to the locker room like, we got to be cool, but we're like, are you freaking kidding me? We're going to Vegas? Like, are you serious, man? But then like, well, playing it cool. Like, yeah, here's the microphone and stuff. So yeah, man, it's gonna be fun to do that again. Hopefully here soon.
Hell yeah, can't wait.
SET says, oh, John got cucked at a baseball game. That's why I answered. Jeez.
He's still going off on you for last night.
SET, my man. Dude, come on now.
Michael Moss.
You wouldn't have to if you were in the hog pen, John.
It's true. Yeah, if I was just in the hog pen instead of those nice seats sitting next to Eric Musselman, and it got cucked. That's brutal. That's brutal. But
I love you yesterday when Whitty was like, I'll keep my seats behind home plate. You guys have fun in the hog pen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You children. Yeah. I'll be behind. I'll be in 111.
Mm-hmm. I had to bring that one up, SCT, because
good time.
You're rude and mean. Shout out to JT Hazelwood. Doesn't say anything. Just like and subscribe. So yes, please do that. By the way, folks.
Trend of people that are not only doing super chats, which we always love, especially our good pals, but also people that are like, saying, hey, like and subscribe. Because it sounds weird. We sound like a broken record when we're like, hey, subscribe, like, and all that. But these are our lives.
Yep.
We live and die. Just like you guys live and die with the result of the game. We live and die with these streams.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, it's the easiest way to support us. If like people really like what we do, which we hope you do, because we work really hard at it, the easiest way to support it is to like videos, subscribe to videos, love super chats. It also does great things. Check out our website, InsideArkansas.com. Just consuming the content is the best way to support us. So yes, please continue to do that. Also, Wade says, let's end the hidden rule of media not allowing to show emotion and cheering. No, we are not ending that rule.
So
that's not a rule that needs to be ended.
Here's the thing. We are obviously like media members who are emotionally attached to this. So like I get the essence of it and I agree. But in terms of at the events, when you're covering the game with a credential in a press box or whatever it is, can't have that. And I'm not going to say any names because I don't think he's in media anymore, but there was a kid at a baseball game last year that was covering one of his first baseball games, and Hudson Polk hit a home run in a midweek game, and he gets up and screams, yes, And freaking the whole press box, we were just like, yo. And like, I'm an energetic guy. I get hyped up when Arkansas is doing well. Even I was like, ooh, yikes. And Oliver had to come over and be like, hey, there'll be no cheering in the press box. We will not be
a working press box. Yeah.
This is not the hog pen where SCT sits. This is the press box where we're doing media.
Well, I can tell you that listen, if you're ever in like future in the media or anybody watching or listening that maybe in the media one day, here's the thing. If I can hold it in, you can too. It's as easy as that. It takes a little bit to learn, but you can do it.
When we do our post-game streams, or whatever it is, like on our show every day, like clearly we have a lot of emotion. Clearly we're tied to the events. I think that's perfectly fine. But yeah, even us three who are, we're fanboys. When we go to the events, we put on our suit and tie and we button up and we are professional. Curtis isn't going to be there tonight calling the Hogs.
I don't mean this in a negative way. I do not consider you two fanboys. Are you guys fanboys? I would not consider that.
No, I mean, we're not actually fanboys. I was just kind of
okay. I was about to say, I was like, I'm the fanboy of this thing.
Even.
I mean, I'm a fan, and I'm not going
why you're
to
not a
deny
fanboy.
it.
You acknowledge negative things that go on with the Arkansas Razorback sports teams, which means you're not a fanboy.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, the fanboy is whenever your team loses, and you're still like, well, they played hard, the ref screwed them. That guy. Yeah. That's fanboy.
I'll take it.
We just had to. It was kind of beaten to our heads. Like you really have to put that in your back pocket, which is kind of what we were always told. But I noticed like the first couple of years, I would have the itch, never really in the press box though. Like I don't know. It was just kind of understood, but like at home watching road games or whatever, I'd scream at the TV and be freaking out, scaring the dog and stuff. But I realized I don't really do that much anymore. So I think it's kind of ingrained even to where, like the Oklahoma State game, for example, where we were there and we had tickets, like we were with the people and it's like touchdown and people are going nuts and everything. And I almost didn't know what to do with my hands. It just, it's weird how that stuff impacts you for sure.
Yep. I do indeed still call the Hogs when I'm at games. If I'm in the stands, I'm calling the Hogs because I do not want to be that guy that's out there. Still, the greatest and largest hog call in the history, and it will never be broken, folks, was at that Garth Brooks concert. Shout out to that. This from Dalton says, you were obviously crying because how much it meant to Devo. As a totally neutral member of the media, you felt it was right because of the genuine passion every fan base has in big moments. Well, I mean, I don't think it had anything to do with Devo because I didn't know Devo was crying. Like, forget Devo, what it meant to me. Like, forget him. Like, what does that mean? Like, I don't even care about him. What it meant to me. What it meant to the Hog fans who have been through hell and back. How about that? That's what it meant. That's what it meant the most. So, yeah, like, no offense to Devo, but swerve from that. I don't give a rip.
Swerve.
Yeah, it's like these.
What it meant to Devo. But I guess Devo was crying in the on court interview on TV, which again, like I was watching, but y'all were not watching. But yeah, that was a good moment though.
It was. It really was. After I didn't know what was going on. No, I was crying because I'm like, I get to go to Vegas with my friends and for free. It's like I can't wait. Shout out to Witty F.
Hey, come on now.
Like and subscribe, or you love Kentucky BBC. Is that the British Broadcasting Channel?
Yeah, big blue crowd.
Big blue cats.
Yeah, big blue cats.
Yeah,
cats. Yeah, you don't want to be a lover of BBC, Kentucky BBC. That is, should say that
specifically Kentucky BBC.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Teach their own, but like and subscribe anyway.
Yeah, we
emphasis on the first part of that sentence for sure.
Yeah. Jeez. SCT, you got to relax, dude. Like, seriously. Like, this is weird, man. Like, he has claimed war against me.
Dude, I almost said the F word again. I like SCT a lot. I FW SCT, but living and dying over the hog pen is almost dumber than living and dying over basketball games and results. And look, I like the hog pen's fine. No shame to it, but it's like, this is not the hill to die on, I wouldn't say.
Living and dying by the hog pen is almost as dumb as being in the hog pen itself. How about that?
Wow.
There you go, SCT.
Wow.
Yeah,
Double
up
down.
yours.
I didn't say that. John might be a terrorist.
Dalton says Curtis and Andrew aren't as emotionally attached because they didn't commit a crime basically on the campus. Yes, John, I remember that story.
But that was at Fayetteville High, right?
Yeah, if that's crime I'm hoping he's referring to. I don't remember committing any other crime at the University of Arkansas. Although I did shoot a potato gun into the Chi O sorority when it was being built. But that was an accident. I didn't mean to do that. Cleared the entire Old Main lawn. Dude, we put so much butane in that thing. I was impressed by my skills there. That was good aiming.
There's nothing better than shooting a potato gun, man.
Oh, dude.
That's a good time.
It just, because it's almost like an adrenaline, because once you hit it, it just has that pressure that, and then it just disappears. That's good stuff. It's good stuff. I wish I still had that potato gun. I built it myself. All right. So, hey, that was a great show for basketball and stuff, man. It was fun.
Yeah.
Not going to basketball. Any final thoughts, guys, before we wrap up here?
Yeah, I mean, great show. Make sure you stay tapped in with everything we got going on. Basketball season starting, so it's going to get crazy with the content and stuff that we're putting out there. Starting with the Pot at the Palace post game show tonight after the game. Me and Andrew are getting after it.
Looking forward to that. I want to leave you guys with one message, everyone in the chat. If you are betting on the Arkansas-Mississippi State game, whatever bet you place, I don't care what it is, if you win that bet, take half of your earnings and place it on Ilia Topuria by KO or submission. You can get both BetSaracen plus 100 odds. That is even. So if you win $50 on the Arkansas game, take 25 of it. Ilia Topuria against Max Holloway by KO or submission. I love Max Holloway. I love the state of Hawaii. He's getting finished tomorrow night or afternoon.
All right, good deal. Good deal. I assume that's UFC, right?
That is UFC.
Okay, just wanted to confirm it.
Fight of the year, John.
Yeah. I trust you. I trust your judgment. I will say I don't have anything else to say, but we'll answer the question from Camo Hog. He says, were any of y'all out there for a game a few years ago when the sprinklers went off in the hog pen in below freezing weather? I was not out there, but yes, I do remember that, and that was awesome, and I loved every second of that. So how about that? Well, either way, hey, appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in Inside Arkansas Live. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas. Be sure to give a like on this video. Be sure to check out InsideArkansas.com for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information on all things Razorbacks. We're going to be spewing so much content, your heads are going to explode each and every day right here at Inside Arkansas. So be sure to be checking it out each and every day. And we look forward to not only having the Pod at the Palace post game, but also tomorrow, don't forget, Pod of That Nature post game following the Arkansas-Mississippi State game as well. So for Andrew Ellis, this is Curtis Wilkerson. I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Next Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Saturday.